Another question about like songwriting. You were just mentioning that it's very emotional.
Oh God, yeah.
So emotional in which sense exactly?
Um, I mean, I think maybe on two levels because I like writing about emotional things, and I like a bit of drama in the songs, sort of to create a dynamic and stuff like that. Um, so So every song has a feeling. So just on a very superficial level, a happy song creates a happy feeling. A sad song creates a sad feeling. That's how it is. But it's also emotional in the sense that like music is sound waves, and as it travels through your body, it creates vibrations, and you respond in certain ways. So if you have like a thick beat that hits you in the stomach, you react emotionally, like you want to move, you want to dance, or maybe you're afraid because there's way too much bass and you feel like you're going to have a heart attack. But there's always some kind of a emotional response to the music, as well as the emotions that are created when you make the music. So it's just a big bunch of emotions.
So it's also a physical process somehow.
Absolutely. Music is physical. It's sound waves. It exists in space and time. That's a really nerdy thing to say, but it's true.
No, but it's interesting because we interview many artists, and absolutely, like, it's very rare that someone talks about this.
Oh, okay.
So because people, when they say, oh, it's emotional, they are usually speaking about their inner feelings.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Not so much about like how music is also physical. Not object, but a physical entity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So interesting. So can you give an example of a song from now moving towards your last record, Bad Behavior?
Yeah.
An example of a song that is physical.
A physical song. Actually, I would say. Let me run through the list. I would say, in a way, Back to Life is kind of a physical song. Just because it's got like a really nice backbeat in it, which is kind of like makes you want to move. But also, when I hear that voice, which is like a deeper, I have this, I sing on this track and I pitch my voice so that it's quite deep, and somehow that just sort of affects me on like a deeper physical level, because it's those different tones that are just like, well, they just get in your gut, you know. And I think when I sing it, because I have this effect on my voice where it sort of makes me sound like I'm singing deeper, I feel like this other character, and I move differently on stage because it's like being like another person, and somehow it's kind of freeing because it's like another character. So I would say that's kind of a song that creates a physical reaction, if you know. So certainly in me.
You change characters on stage when you are performing from
know.
song to song.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like every song is like a different chapter. It's a different story, and I try to, like for this tour, I used to tour a lot playing guitar and playing keys and playing different instruments and stuff. And this tour, I'm like, I don't want to have any of that. I want to be able to move. And it's sort of, for me, it's like another dimension of information. Like you have the song, you have the melody, you have the lyrics, but you can also move your body on stage, and that creates another kind of information. And and so if the song is very sad, you're usually quite still and quite focused. If the song is like, I have a song called Home, which is just like shredding guitars that go on forever, you just want to like freak out and whip your hair and jump up and down and go crazy. So somehow it's like, I don't know how to sum that up. It's like the album is like kind of an emotional roller coaster, and that creates different movements, and just because now that when I'm on stage that my body's free to move, I really love exploring that and just moving in different ways. I don't know.
And why was it important for you to free your body for this tour?
Well, I never really thought about doing it, but then the last couple of years I went on tour with a couple of other sort of famous German dudes, and one guy was called Olli Schulz, and he's like quite well known in Germany, and he asked me to play guitar for him in his band so that he could move, because he wanted to be like an entertainer guy and tell stories.
Yes.
And so I watched him sort of free himself of his acoustic guitar, and suddenly you could just shine on stage. And I was like, oh shit, that's a really good idea. And then I went on tour with another even more famous German guy called Clouseau. And, and just to see him you can get so much more intimate with the crowd if you can move towards them, if you can jump into the crowd, if you can express the ideas of your song physically, because otherwise you're just like here for an hour and a half, you can't really do much. You can't really go anywhere. So all of a sudden it's a show becomes three-dimensional because you can move three-dimensionally. And that excited me. Like I just thought, oh, that's another layer of communication that I can access
With your audience, communication with your audience.
Yes, exactly. To communicate the ideas in the songs, to just jump around and have fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I have one of my favorite songs of your last record is Forgiveness, because I find it so delicate.
Ah, cool. Thanks.
So I haven't watched your concert yet. So how do you perform this song on stage?
Oh, I'm sad to say we don't perform that song.
You don't?
No. We actually for this show it's really quite difficult to pick all the songs because I have 4 albums now, and it's a little bit hard because we have to the first half of the show is more like a lot of older stuff, like a cross section of older stuff, and the second half of the show is stuff that's from the new album, and so we can only pick like a couple of delicate songs to play in the show, and unfortunately Forgiveness lost out. So we have Finite in the show, which is a very sort of quiet, intimate moment, but we chose not to do Forgiveness. I'm sorry.
Okay. Still one more question about this song.
Okay.
Because I don't know, I really enjoy it. It's so delicate and the whole electronic aspect of it.
Yeah.
Where the idea for the song comes from?
That song just sort of started with an experiment. I had a friend lent me like one of his Moog synthesizers, and I was just like, because I wanted to use it. I actually wanted to use the synthesizer on another song that didn't end up on the album, and then I just started experimenting with a few different patterns and things, and this sort of funny little electronic pattern loop came out of it that I really loved because it was kind of pretty but also kind of melancholy, and that was kind of just the start of it. It was just a feeling, It was like, what is this feeling, and what is the story to this feeling, and it just sort of grew. So it was kind of a little bit shiny and a little bit sad.
Yeah. And now that you were just talking about feelings, what's the feeling of the song Home, which I get is one of the main songs in your record?
Yeah, Home is like a kind of aggressive song. It's more like, Home for me, like when I wrote Home, I was having a really frustrated moment because it was about a year or so ago, no, more now because the album's been, like maybe 2 years ago. And it was this period of time where, there was a lot of stuff about Black Lives Matter in the US. There was like the marriage equality vote happening in Germany and in Australia. And there was all of this sort of online outrage and all of this hate happening, and I just felt really mad about it. And for me, I just thought about this idea of home where just everybody wants a space where they can be themselves. That's what everyone wants, no matter what fucking movement it is. Excuse me. Everyone just wants, and everyone should have a right to that. So I was just like, and and so it just came tumbling out one day, and along with this really obnoxious, like guitar riff that I just wanted to hammer on. I just wanted that riff to just go for such a long time because I just wanted to jump up and down in my lounge room listening to like riffing guitars and to just express that frustration and just say, look, everyone just like deserves to belong, like, and fuck you all for trying to you know, make laws about people's lives that you know nothing about, and you know, and fuck your prejudice. You know, I was just, you know, don't even get me started.
Yeah.
So it's an expression of all of that.
Yeah.
It's an expression of all of that.
Anger somehow.
And yeah, and I normally don't write stuff about that, but it's just that, you know, the climate and the environment that we are in at the moment, it's not worth being quiet. And all of my songs are an expression of a feeling or how I feel or what I want to say, and I just wanted to say something, so that's what I did. It had to come out. Yeah.
All right, Kat. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.